What's going on, Fantasy Chefs? Gonna go down the FanDuel lineup today, making this one quick, kind of close to game time. So, going to just get right into it. Again, free lineups all this week. If you want lineups after this week, we are doing a contest over on Twitter. Go ahead and retweet the pinned post to get a chance to win another free week. And then, if you don't happen to win that, we are still doing lineups over on fantasychef.net, $4.99 a month. Pretty much going to be trying to do lineups every day. I know the subscription says 2 to 3 times a week, but actually I think it was 3 to 4 times a week. But that's going to just be the baseline. Really going to try and get the lineups out every single day, every single slate, and then going to possibly try and throw in some unique slates too, maybe some late games only, different things like that throughout the season. So keep it locked on here. Go hit your subscribe button, the notification bell, throw this video a like. It'll help to grow the channel, and I would appreciate it greatly. And that way you can keep in tune and up to date on all the picks. All right, without further ado, going to get right into it for this Thursday night slate. 3 games in this slate. We've got Miami at Washington, Chicago at Philly, LA at Portland. The Lakers game at Portland is the debut of LeBron James. Real quick, just to go over that game, I am actually fading LeBron James. I think that a lot of people are going to own him tonight, and I don't see him in his new digs getting a huge amount of run. I think this team is trying to find their way, and I kind of feel a letdown here on the road. Portland is a tough place to play. This team is has their chemistry already intact, and I think LeBron is going to be a little bit rusty to start off the season this year, especially with Lonzo Ball and how they handle the ball handling and the offense. Usually it's point forward LeBron. Not quite sure how they're going to run the offense. Seems that LeBron might be overutilized as a center, or he's going to be played in the center role, and I don't think that role is very good for him. I think that if they overutilize him there, you can see quite a bit of drop in his stats. You know, rebounds and blocks will definitely go up, but I mean, LeBron was already getting 8 to 10 rebounds a game, obviously 10 on the high side, but where LeBron was a monster was obviously points, but the assists, that's really what separated him. And now on the Lakers, I'm not quite sure that he gets those assists. I mean, he is LeBron James, so I'm not gonna shade him all year. I'm not saying that, but I think there's a good period of time where we kind of have to feel out what this offense is going to be. And on a slate with only 3 games, he's going to be way overplayed, and I'm just not buying it tonight. So, anyways, going forward, we'll go ahead and make the picks here. The injury news, it's not really injury news, but substitution news is Cameron Payne is now starting. Chris Dunn is out with a non-disclosed personal issue. So Cameron Payne draws the start. Chicago's backcourt is already pretty weak. That rotation is not very good. Let's see if I can pull up the depth chart here. We've got for the Chicago Bulls, outside of Chris Dunn, you've got Zach LaVine, you've got Justin Holiday, who is slated as the small forward, but his body types fits more into a shooting guard. You've got Denzel Valentine, Antonio Blakeney, and that's really about it. So without Chris Dunn there, I see a ton of minutes going Cameron Payne's way. You know, he might share time with Zach LaVine at the point, and then they'll probably move Holiday into the shooting guard role. And so, you know, they might throw Jabari Parker some extra minutes. They might even start Parker for this game, and maybe they move Holiday to the bench. Who knows what this rotation is going to be like, but in any event, no matter what it is, I do see Cameron Payne getting a lot of minutes. Philadelphia and Chicago, for that matter, have an insane game pace. So I see Cameron Payne being able to get into the at least the 20s and get his $4,000 value there. All right, next up, is also a point guard, Damian Lillard. I love this matchup for Lillard. Um, if you look at last year and excuse me, TFS defense by position on FanDuel, and you look at last season for point guards, LA was ranked second worst in the league. Lonzo Ball, not a great defender. So, love Lillard in this matchup. I think that, this is one of the games. Damian Lillard is always known for his primetime games. He always comes out and makes sure he makes an impact on the national games for the week. And I think this is a perfect spot for him at home. He gets LA, the new look LA Lakers, and I think Damian Lillard is, especially under $10,000 in salary, is a great play tonight. All right, next up for shooting guards, I know that JJ Redick is one of the guys that a lot of people are scratching their head on. He is not in the starting lineup to begin games, but he is inserted in the second half as the starter. He still got 29 minutes the last game. The 16 points. If you watch this game, JJ Redick got a lot of good looks from the field. He just had a poor shooting night. I think he missed maybe three wide open 3-pointers that, I don't know, maybe on a better day he makes two out of those three. So I do see Redick being able to get into possibly the mid 20s. He really did nothing outside of that. Very low assist total, very low rebound total. He does not get high stats in those categories, anyways. But I mean, this is putrid. He should be able to at least get one or two more in each of these categories. And with that said, he scored about 20 points last game, so I do see this bumping up, especially against Chicago. Chicago last season was ranked fourth worst in DFS points on FanDuel to shooting guards. I just went over how depleted that backcourt is for Chicago, so I see JJ Redick having a bounce back game. You can't even really call it a bounce back. I mean, it was a solid game. For DFS wise, he just didn't have some of the extra outside stats that he should be able to get. Maybe a couple steals this game as well with the poor backcourt for Chicago. Next up, speaking of the Chicago backcourt, the guy I think goes off tonight in the shooting guard spot is Zach LaVine. Uh, as I stated, this backcourt is extremely depleted, and there's really only two scorers on this team. It's Zach LaVine and Jabari Parker. Jabari Parker not in the starting lineup, at least from what they've said, will be the rotation when everybody's healthy. Like I said, who knows what the rotation is tonight? But anyways, Zach LaVine really one of only two scorers. I can see LaVine actually going for 30 points here. I see him as a must start in the shooting guard role, especially at his salary at under 7,000. Next up is another guy that's getting ton of usage. It is Josh Richardson. Kind of crazy to start the season how injured some of these teams are, but Josh Richardson comes in for Miami. I think he played close to 35 minutes, 37 minutes last game. 21 points, 5 rebounds, and a couple of other counting stats there. He had a poor shooting night. I believe he was under 43% shooting. I think he was somewhere 42 or below. I like Richardson to be able to improve on that tonight. And I think his I think his floor is 30 points. I think his ceiling is possibly in the low 40s if he does happen to go off. All right, Bob Covington is our next. They call him Robert officially. I call him Bob. Bob Covington is the next pick here. I just think this is a solid value play for $6,700. And also, he had kind of a stinker game the first night of the season. I think a lot of people might stray away from him. Covington is one of these guys that's going to get you stats across the board. He's not going to overwhelm you in points. He can get upwards to 7, 8 rebounds on a good night, but you're counting on this guy for at least 2 steals, maybe a block. He is a little risky in the turnover side of things, so cross our fingers there. But on this small slate, there's not a lot of guys who are stat stuffing freaks in every single category, and this guy can contribute in just that. So, excuse me, love riding the Covington play tonight. Next up, going for our punt play. A guy who is a first round draft pick. I don't know why I can't see him in this list. We'll search for him. Zach Collins. Zach Collins comes in to this game having a pretty solid preseason. Yeah, if you look here, his last preseason game, 15 points, 10 rebounds, a couple counting stats as well. Obviously, it's preseason. Obviously, he was playing the Kings. But I think Collins is a good punt play. I like him for about 20 minutes or so tonight. And I think that against the Lakers, who don't really have any bigs really in the starting lineup, let alone in the, off the bench, I like Collins to kind of microwave some points tonight. And if all else fails, he can be your FanDuel last score out. All right. Next up is, I can call this guy Bob, Bobby Portis. He shows up as Bob on FanDuel. Portis is one of these guys that when he gets minutes, he puts up points. $5,700. He is the starter in Chicago. And look, maybe Chicago goes down low quite a bit tonight with the injuries to their backcourt. He does get, possibly some defense by Embiid, but I think just sheer usage here, Bobby Portis gets somewhere, excuse me, somewhere in the $25 to $30 range, 25 to 30 point range. Probably a little bit over 30 if I had to bet, and that's exactly we're doing. So betting on him to get value there. So last up is our top play of the night, going with Joel Embiid. Look, Chicago has absolutely nobody that can cover Embiid. I think Embiid has a heyday against this Chicago defense. I think a lot of people are going to be enamored with the Ben Simmons show from last game, and you're going to get crazy usage on Simmons. It's going to be really hard to play Simmons and Embiid both together, so I think a lot of people are going to have to shade Embiid. I think Embiid comes in as tonight's top play. I'm looking for 60 plus points in this one against Chicago. My only my only hesitation is that this game could possibly be a blowout, and so we could see Embiid sit. Really hoping that's not the case. Hoping that Levine can drum up some points and keep this one semi-close, so we get some minutes out of some of the Philly starters. All right, guys. Hopefully this helped you. Again, doing this all week long. Going to be doing it every day, so keep it locked in here. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss or forget to check in. And then for the rest of the season, picks over on fantasychef.net. Also do UFC picks when they have cards and NFL picks every week. So I hope that we can help you out and win some money on DFS. Good luck tonight, guys. Take care.